I don't know how the accountants at Home Depot do it. You reserve an amount, so if you sell $100,
Right.
you reserve a certain amount for returns and warranty and whatever else. Their amount out of $100 must be like $75. That's the only way Home Depot makes money. So her other husband, Jim, you want that metal piece replaced on your sink, he'll like try to take the old one and put it back in the new one's box and like try to return that 20 years after. Yeah, borderline.
It's like, that's theft almost.
Almost, exactly.
Or maybe it is.
Yeah, but they're
like, just got this thing. I don't know why it won't close right.
Yeah, he'll for sure like return parts from like that he takes out. Anyway.
Should they get returned on Amazon, half the time it doesn't go back to the place at all, no matter how good it is. Really, someone either buys them in like a lot or and
then liquidates them basically. So
right.
you buy stuff for pennies on the dollar. But...
Yeah. So my old tenant, they got like a shipment of oatmeal or something, but I was like, I'll try to return it for you.
Yeah.
And they were like, don't worry about it, because they won't take it back, and they won't take back any food stuff. So then they're just like, just keep it and we'll give you the money. And I'm like, maybe I should try this every time I shop on Amazon.
I should tell Jim about this.
Yeah. Honestly, like one of my friends does go through every single order and like try to return each individual item immediately. And and if they just are like, okay, keep it, then like apparently you get flagged after a while.
I would think so. I mean, you would think with this AI that's so hyped,
right? If you're
Amazon would have figured this out.
Yeah, you're testing the waters on every single item from Amazon to see if you can have it for free.
Yeah.
But
if you're Marshalls, I that was going both ways in my head. So part of me says like, there's no way they're like, they get this return from Marshalls.com, especially the online, right? You take it back to the store, like what they pull it out and they make sure that there's no rips and tears and blah, blah, blah. And then they repackage it and re-put it back. Oh, so the part of me says, no way they do that. The other part of me says, well, if I were Marshalls, I'd take every return, stick it on a hanger and put it back out in the shop.
Yeah.
And if somebody comes up to you and is like, hey, there's a tear or a stain or whatever, like, okay, I'll chuck that.
Right. Or you just give them a discount a lot of times. Like I find something wrong, like oftentimes you'll get like lipstick on a shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, look at this. And they're like, you want 15% off? And I'm like, yes, I do.
Hell yeah, I do. Yeah. So now
I go in there and I'm like,
it's the obvious.
No. I don't, but
at least you don't, but somebody's running around putting lipstick stains on the blouses so they can.
Yeah.
Speaking of that word blouse I just used, that in our office, there was a majority of people at a meeting I was at who didn't know what the word blouse meant.
What?
Yeah.
How do you not know what it means?
What is a blouse? Describe that. And these are women too, by the way, who at last check are the ones who wear blouses.
Right.
If anyone does.
Yes. Well, I think don't know about the wolf cells out there, but what the fluid folks and whatnot wear.
Wolf cells probably wear pelts, would you say? Beaver pelts.
Yeah, they wear.
They scalp the beavers, and then they wear those to cover themselves.
They wear mink. Yeah. How old are these people?
This group is turning 40. One touching 40.
Right around my age. Interesting.
Right. You're just about 40. You round down to 40.
Yeah. I round down to 27.
I'm closer to, if I measure in thousands, I round down to 0.
Yeah. There's been occasion not that long ago at all where I'll like go to buy beer, which in Texas is 21, and they'll be like, I'm going to need to see some ID. And I'm like, really? Like,
God bless you.
If they're just like, I need ID because I got to put it in the machine, whatever. It's different. But if they're like, I'm going to need to see some ID. I'm like, what am I doing today? I
still got it.
I'm like, damn.
Still got it.
Yeah, because when I see 20-year-olds or whatever, I'm like, that is a child. I do not look like that at all.
I tell you, I never get that because I go to the self-check or whatever and it stops because you need a person to punch you in and they're like, it's asking for an ID because this is alcohol. And I'm like, okay, sure. And they're like, no, I don't need to see it. Like, really? Don't you kind of want to see it?
You're like, I dyed this. So.
No. Maybe no.
It's getting a little salt and pepperish.
A little. I grew. It is saltier than pepperier, and it's been like that since the moment I grew it out.
Yeah.
Except weirdly the mustache, which is dark, and I don't always like the way it looks with just a dark mustache and a.
You should just shave that part.
I think I should
just leave this.
I mean, around here you got the Amish look and.
Yeah, if you cut off to here, then you could have chops like Rutherford B. Hayes or whatever, one of those
Fair
old,
enough. Yeah.
or Martin Van Buren. That's the one who's got great chops.
Oh, Martin Van Buren.
You need to grow it out so it's a little curly though. Looks good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we should kick it off, huh?
I think we should. I was looking for a segue about how this is not fashion advice.
That's true.
But this is a million times more likely to be fashion advice than it is to be financial and investing advice.
True.
You know what? Cue the music.
Yeah.
You are listening to the Robert and Kalyn Get Rich Show, the one and only comedy finance podcast on the entirety of the internet, YouTube, and everywhere else. This is episode 27. Today is October 29th, 2024. It is a Tuesday. This is my host, Kalyn Kimmel, and yours. And I'm her co-host, Robert Kimmel. I already said this is not investment advice, but don't you dare forget it. Are there a couple of suggestions you have for activities they might do if they like this show, Kalyn?
Yes, you should give us the thumbs up, smash that like button, hit subscribe, send this over to your friends and family and your boss and prospective employers and, whoever else.
I think if you want to line yourself up for success at a new job, I think sending this to all your bosses and coworkers is exactly the way to go.
Absolutely.
That's why we've got just incredible numbers of subscribers.
That's true.
And by that, I mean 148.
Oh, I thought it was 169.
Well, I think
we lost a couple.
Yeah. Those same bots that are telling your friend that they can't return, they're trying to scam Amazon. Those are the same bots that are determining that our subscribers are not real, perhaps.
Yeah. Speaking of bots, it's funny. I bought something and I was trying to log on to my account. And so I clicked the link from my email and it's like, sorry, you're a robot. And I was like, pardon? Let me try again. And they're like, nope. You're a robot. And I'm like, what? And it kept doing that. I could never log in at all.
Did the thought cross your mind that, maybe I am a robot? Like maybe AI has reached the level of sentience,
right?
Like the Matrix, where I have thought this whole time I am a biological creature, but in fact I'm a robot.
What's that Harrison Ford movie, that Dad's favorite movie, that
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner,
is the movie you're referring to,
right? Isn't that the one where she is a robot and they interview her and try to figure out? Am I thinking the right plot?
You are, yes.
Okay.
She doesn't know she's a robot,
right.
Although some of the other robots do know they're robots.
Yeah, have insight into their own robotness.
And the Harrison Ford character is busy trying to chase down the last of these robots and kill them because that's his job for reasons that escape me at the moment.
Right. Yeah. I think I've seen the movie once.
Yeah.
Even though Dad likes it so much.
I know. Surprised he didn't talk you into seeing it. He's not only seen the movie many times, he then saw the director's cut many times as well. So you have a movie like this.
Yes, I have many movies like this.
And also shows.
Yes, I'm a fan of rewatching for sure.
As Kalyn and I sit on the edge of our seat watching the playoffs from the 2020 year BattleBots.
Yeah. Yeah, you did better on your bracket than I did. So
yeah, you're the one who should have the vague memories of who won. It's like Memento, where it's like eventually you should actually remember this, whether your brain is working or not. So.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I just saw a show recently that I thought was worth mentioning. It's called Outlast. So people go off into the Alaskan wilderness and have to survive whatever.
Yeah.
Outlast kind of is alone but reversed. So they pick a bunch of people who are like, I don't like to be around people, but I'm into survivalist stuff. And they're like, now you compete, but you have to be on a team.
Oh,
right. Like survive, blah, blah, blah. And man, it brings out such the worst side of people. Like people are just really bad, nasty, like stealing stuff from each other and constantly backstabbing one another or whatever. They win their share of like $1 million. So it's greed, but it was interesting.
Well, that was the great thing about Survivor, the first season before it got to like season 27 is it really, brought out the worst in people. And they started scheming and conniving and they started forming these coalitions.
I still remember like that finale and like the little speeches people gave when they were like, I choose, I don't know, I can't remember their names, but there's like the military dude who was like, I made an alliance with this dude. I'm going to stay loyal to my alliance forever. Like, whatever. And then one person was like, this guy's a rat. but you're a snake, and this blah 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 blah. Like the snake should eat the rat, and yada yada yada, whatever. Yeah, and that's how the guy won.
Yeah.
And she was like,
And then somehow the final thing was a physical survival thing, because obviously they would have voted each other off the island. But anyway,
oh, so I thought, yeah, they get down to like the last two, and then I thought they had everybody
they
come
had to
back and
stand
vote.
holding. Oh,
That's what I remember, is like them having a final vote between the last two, at least in season 1. I don't know how they
well,
do
that's
it.
a good
do it now.
idea. That adds a whole, because
Right.
now you have to
Right.
now you have to snake people less than the other snake,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Right. So there's only 2 seasons of Outlast, and the second season that I finished up last night. The team that won, I was like, man, I really hope these guys don't win, because they like they'd been like on the same team the whole time with this other guy who was starting to like get a little bit sick, and they get the news that they're going to start their final challenge in 2 days, and they don't tell the dude, and they're like, dude, you're really sick, we think you should go home, like we're just really worried about you. Like they just totally betrayed him, and like he leaves going like, man, they just really care about me. And I'm like, oh man, ugh.
Wow, have you been?
Yeah, I'm like, geez, this is dirty. And it's because they didn't want to split the $1 million 3 ways, and those 2 guys won.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is, yeah.
And the producers are like freaking in love with this. They could not have written this up any better. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like they were trying to get those guys to not win, because they picked the final challenge that was like kind of designed for the other team.
Yeah.
Like they were like, I think this is a compass. Like literally that's what they said when they pulled out a compass from the box. They had a map and a compass, and they like had to figure out how to navigate. They were like, I think that's what it is. What do you think? Like, and so they had to navigate this route, and then they had to start a fire with like the bow and whatever.
Yeah.
These are skills that these guys do not have. The other team could have like easily kicked their ass, but
between skills and like backstabbing on, I thought you meant loan.
No.
Like a home loan or something.
No.
So,
yeah.
Anyway,
that show is very interesting. Like, because those, you don't know how long you're going to be out there. You have like 10 supplies.
Yeah.
Whatever. And but it's interesting, like the people who do super well, like if you get lucky with like building your environment, you are able to catch food really quickly.
Yeah.
If there's not enough of a challenge, people go home.
They just
really fast. Like if you're starving, if you can't figure out how to light your fire, you have no shelter, and you're not getting food, you're gone in like 2 days.
Yeah.
But the next people to leave are all the people that like do the best. Like one guy had so much time, he like made a boat, like just out of wood that he found, and like figured out a way, and they like goes canoeing, and he's like, I'm gonna go home now. I'm done. Because I could stay out here forever. And I'm like, you could still stay out here for a while and win the $1 million.
I know. You're so bored, you're gonna turn down $1 million. Wow.
Yeah, you made a boat. Like make some other shit. Like,
haven't you ever seen Gilligan's Island? You can make like a radio out of coconut shells and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
How hard is this?
Right. I mean, it does look like it's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and the 10 things you get, you pick those, because I remember in Survivor, like people pick their things, and so like, of course, like, I'm gonna bring a Bible, and I'm gonna bring another guy's gonna bring my old Houston Rockets jersey, and you're like, folks are idiots.
If you guys win, I'm done with the show.
Exactly. You're not.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do get to pick your 10 things on a loan. On Outlast, they give you a set of things, right? Like, since it's
like
going to
be a compass that you may or may not recognize as being a compass.
That's not one of the things they give you right away, for sure. But like they give like the team a hatchet, or whatever.
Okay.
So you can build your shelter, cut down wood, da 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 da.
That's a pretty handy thing to have out in the wilderness.
Yes. A flint is always included, which that's like
starting a fire with a flint. I once lost $100 to a Boy Scout. I was like, you cannot start a fire with that flint and steel. And damned if he couldn't.
Yeah,
and,
he did.
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
$100 to,
You're like,
because I just remember it being so hard. But
yeah.
But if you have the right, like, it's not obvious. You can make sparks come off flint and steel, no problem. But it's then has to land in this thing as an ember,
right?
And then you have to get it to burn,
right?
Your little bird's nest that you built. So
yeah.
Cotton ball.
Yeah.
So that sounds absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Speaking of brutal, we've been brutalizing the market.
Oh yeah! I hope you're telling the truth.
I don't know if I'm telling the truth.
Oh,
we are up. I almost thought that said 48%.
Look at today's game.
We're up $48.
Yeah, today. $200 today. No, that's total.
Oh, today. Oh, yeah. So clearly this portfolio is just swingy as hell, basically. But you remember we shorted Admentum?
Yeah.
which has been a great decision. You can see that these numbers on top are negative, but our numbers are positive percentages.
Yeah. Man, Yahoo, what's the deal? Like, get your shit together. Is this working?
Yeah, I even reloaded everything to make sure it was
Yeah,
right, and
'cause
so
that
it
doesn't look
basically
right.
looks right. I don't know. Well, let me tell you, your IPO has
Yeah.
been great.
Yeah.
The Denison Mines option is still really strong.
That's awesome.
True is our hero.
Yeah.
Chewy is a solid contributor. The
Uh-oh.
silly pharmaceutical stocks from around the world,
Yeah.
not the best way to invest.
Right. But those are the free ones.
Eagle Pharmaceuticals is down 55% today.
Damn.
Which is only $90, which means that our $1,000 investment was already down to like $180.
Yeah.
So that is brutal.
Yeah.
Very Kalyn investment.
But maybe to be fair, I did get that. Those were free ones from Robinhood.
Yeah.
So Robinhood, not the best picker of free stocks to hand out, maybe. But
maybe they're very good at picking out free stocks and not giving you the stuff that actually earns money.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe you could take them back as a return. And see. Anyway,
it was free, so I mean, I guess I can't really.
I want my money back here.
Yeah.
On this free stock.
Yeah.
Evidently, your best approach would have been to immediately sell the free stock.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Get your $5. Yeah. Oh, well.
But hey, I think we're also learning if you just hang in there, some of these stories turn on. I mean, look at Reddit. There was a day we would never in a million years would have imagined that it would return 18%.
Right.
So,
yeah, it has been really up and down. Man, that's it. Yeah, just hold on to it forever. That's my methodology, basically.
We're going to see how many of these end up in the total loss column like chicken soup for the sole entertainment.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But, what matters is, did you beat the market?
Yeah. This is the S&P?
Yeah, this is the S&P 500 baseline.
Man.
So we were a little above zero. They're a little below 10%.
Yeah.
So S&P is totally crushed.
They're doing better than us.
Performance. They're doing substantially better.
Yeah.
I think I've been forgetting to buy lots. So that would draw down the average a little bit. I haven't bought a share lot since July 12th, 2024.
Wow.
Oops.
Oopsies.
So I got to remember to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it would be.
Can we retrospectively buy them? Can we change the date?
I don't know. I guess I could go look up what the prices were on that day.
I mean,
yeah.
Not if it's going to be a lot of work, but.
This is how the friends are doing. Short answer, friends are doing terribly. Pulte Homes, worst pick in a matter of 2 weeks.
Wow.
It is down 10%.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know.
So how is Fannie Mae doing? I didn't look at that one specifically on ours. I wonder if this the Pulte Homes is related to like the same thing.
Fannie Mae up 2% lifetime. I'm not sharing, but it's down 4% today, but up 2% lifetime.
Yeah.
This is the one that people think is a bet on a Trump presidency.
Right. So I don't know how to interpret that exactly.
Well, it's getting
up
close to zero, back close to zero.
Right. So no one knows what's going to happen still.
Who knows what Trump said or did that made people less convinced that Fannie Mae.
I can't do the Trump accent. I keep wanting to do it, but
Oh.
You're much better at it than me.
Wow.
What
an I told them you're fired. You give these people their home loan money back or you're fired. I'm closing, by the way, like what was just a terrible podcast report. And I opened this up and I'm like, these slides are just, from my consulting days, it's like, oh my God, so many issues. No, it was stuff like they had a stacked bar where it's like, I'd pretend the question is, how many podcasts have you listened to in the past week?
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus. Here's the stack bar. Average 3.5. And you're like, you can't average when the top category is 5 plus.
Yeah.
There's people in there watching 72 podcasts this last week. And that average is up from the same survey question we asked a quarter ago.
Yeah.
And you're like,
right.
And
it's like, are you actually counting like the number that people put in, and you're just grouping together everything greater than 5?
Man, I hope so. I hope I can give that guy credit that he managed to do that.
Yeah.
But, when you're managing consultants or making slides and stuff like this, you learn really quick that you're going to see it all. But that math stuff doesn't begin to touch on the formatting stuff. I mean, one piece of it was all pie charts.
Yeah.
And you ever see these reports where the pie chart doesn't quite match the,
Yeah.
you get the variables backwards or something.
Right,
so you're
right.
like, of people who answered yes to this question, 42% are men and it's 58% are, and it's like, no, I want to know men average this and women average that, not,
Right. Yeah. I really love data visualization. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Like
that and space allocation.
Right.
So
Pretty
what fits in your
good-looking.
trunk and what would look good on a bar graph.
Right. So I make a really nice dashboard is what I'm getting at. Like,
Either way.
So like, yeah, but it's amazing to me how many people like just do not understand what analytics are going to be useful at all, or like how to convey information, even simple information. It's like a line graph for like how many people said yes and no. I'm like, why would you have it doesn't we're not showing things like whatever.
This is the use of a pie chart.
Yeah, exactly. But
the number of slides in this deck that were one stacked bar chart, one stacked bar.
Yeah. I hate those. Like, there's another way to do.
Kalyn, there's something definitely in the genetics from the not wanting to buy stuff off the wish list to not needing to spend every penny we make on crap from China. Like, we're the weird ones. So
right.
The people who actually know how to make a visually appealing slide, you're the oddball, not the other people. So
yeah, I do realize how nerdy I sound in conversation when I'm like, I really love data visualization. Like,
so you put that on your dating profile online. That makes the dudes just go crazy.
Yeah,
and then like, I found your profile very interesting. Here's a dick pic.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I did used to have a thing on there that said I love rhombocube octahedrons, which is like the shape of tape balls that I make. It's like a 24-sided, anyways, and guys would always say something about that. Well, not all guys.
Wow. Well, I find it honestly a little weird that the dudes are reading the profiles in that much detail. Honestly, generally speaking, men and women have the opposite problem on these online dating sites, right? Where women have to sort through the piles and piles of nonsense.
Yeah.
But the dudes, they've got to use
nothing.
They've got to use the shotgun approach. So I ain't got time to go in and read that you're interested in dodecahedrons and Marcus Aurelius. Like, I'm trying to fire off as many of these as possible while making it look like I actually give a damn what you put in your profile.
And like nowadays, the dating profiles are much simpler, very little text in general that you're writing. But like back in the old days when I had an OkCupid profile, you could just write paragraphs about yourself. And I would get so many matches. I would get between 50 and 100 matches a day.
Yeah.
And they're emails, right? So I can't actually dedicate that much time. I have to come up with really stupid criteria to get rid of people, basically. So yeah, you use the wrong
done.
Then goodbye. Like, and so you better come up with something to say about my profile. If you just say like, hi, see ya.
Hi, here's a dick pic.
Right. Like, but I hate the online dating thing because it's so like, that's not the experience that I have in real life. And I'm aware of that. But I think, plenty of females out there when they feel like the hottest shit on the market, when they're getting 50 or 100 guys that are like, hey, I'm into you in one day. Because that does not happen. Like, I don't walk into a bar and every dude's like,
you're not 21, are you? Can I see an ID?
Yeah, right. Like, yeah. That doesn't happen. And
it'd be great for the self-esteem, though, at least when it first happens.
This is, I think, where the whole like, oh, I only like guys that are over 6 feet and have a 6-figure income. And it's like, okay,
there's one more 6 I've heard about, by the way. The third 6. 6 inches.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, 666. Hail Satan. Looking for the beast. And I think that like that all is silly. Like, so apparently if you look at the research that's been done, if you're like in the upper echelon looks wise for guys, you get like 1 billion emails.
Yeah.
And then if you're like say an 8 or below, which is a very good looking guy, like you get nothing.
Right.
And that's terrible all the way around. Like I want a guy who's taller than me, but I'm 5'3", so that's not a particularly and I could be convinced otherwise if he's amazing.
But you don't have time to convince you you're amazing if
right. But if I just see your picture
and in a stack of 100,
and then the next day I've got another stack of 100, I just don't have the time for it.
This is why, like, if I'm ever in this situation, I've got to lead with my money. I mean, that's the thing I got going for me. So like,
yeah, but
hello,
like,
ladies.
yeah, see, I hate that though too. That's like, should I just be like, like, I don't know.
I think the science and the research would support that. Like, your odds of a great match are no better from the paragraphs in OkCupid than they would be from just like swipe left, swipe right.
Yeah.
I actually have no data to back this up, but I feel like that's the case. Like, humans are so terrible at picking mates,
right?
That we have this infatuation stage that has no indication if you're going to be a great match.
Yeah.
But one thing that is a pretty good indication if you're going to be able to stick together is, do you have financial security? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess. I mean, but like, I don't know. You see, like, plenty of these rich dudes, like they age out with their girls. So like, as a female, like, you don't want to just go completely based on looks for yourself. And if you're like, oh, I just want a rich dude, then I find the next rich dude, a guy who's a little bit richer,
and then you're in the rich dude circuit. Now you've really made it.
right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard out there. For me, it's all about like vibe or whatever. Like, do I feel like I can hang out with you? And I can usually tell this within like 5 minutes of going on a date with a guy. Like, I don't know. I've been on some crazy first dates though, like for sure. Like, I've gone on multiple first dates with the same person, like, over time. This happened with 2 separate dudes who have taken me on 2 first dates. Like, one was this horrible French guy. So I didn't have very many pictures that were like full body shots, right? I just had pictures of like my face.
Yeah.
Because that's most of what I take. But apparently this is the province of the big girls. And I've gotten this feedback from other guys too, that they were like, oh, I thought you were going to be big because you didn't have any of those body shots. So this French dude had asked me for like a full body shot, which I was like, okay, whatever. So I sent him one that was recent, and we go on this date, and he like proceeds to talk about how like Houston's so ugly compared to Paris, and like how Texas women are super fat. And he was like, you're not skinny. And I was like, okay, I didn't say that I was. And like, you saw a picture of me. Like, it made me more self-conscious than anything I've ever, like, I was suddenly aware of where my thighs were like hitting the chair. And like, I was just like, okay, I know. Like, like, wow, aggressive. And so like, then I go on a second first date with this guy. And
Of all the people out of all these dating experiences,
yeah.
a second.
And like, he took me to the same place, the same restaurant. And this time though, I'd lost some weight, and he was like, the same spiel about how Texas women are fat, but he was like, but you could fit in with French women. And I was like, we've been on this date before. And he's like, definitely not. And I'm like, 100%. And like, he was convinced that we had never gone out.
Well, because he's gone on that date with a whole lot of women.
Yeah. Well, I'm like,
but who's going for this, right? Which women do you take on this date that you're like, Houston's awful and the women are fat?
Right. Like, and I'm like, why are you here? Go back to France.
Some chicks are like, oh, this is the man of my dreams.
Right.
I love dudes who like talk about how fat.
Yeah. So I asked him on the second first date with this guy, I asked him about his most recent ex. And she was like a Russian girl. And I'm like, of course. So you're dating some other person not from Texas.
Just some bimbo.
Right. Who was like super skinny, but also super crazy. And like,
I'm not into the super skinny girls. I'm going to be totally honest. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that many dudes are.
Like I think most women think that the dudes like skinnier women than they actually do.
Yeah. Right. I'm accepting this myself. But I certainly grew up thinking like the skinnier, the better. Never thought about like even boobs making a difference in the, just like the more you can look like a
twig.
Like a child, basically.
That's part of it. I'm like, I'm not attracted to girls. I'm attracted to women.
Right. Yeah.
And
a lot of like the dudes I know would add 5 pounds versus take away 5 pounds from many of the women that they're, they have a little bit more like.
Yeah. I think even Andrea has said this, like, well, don't the bigger boobs make you look fat? And I'm like, no, they do not.
No.
Yes, there are fat women with big boobs.
Sure.
Maybe it's 10.
Yeah. I don't think that they're like, people are like, oh, wow, she would be skinny if only she was like,
No, but you don't look at, I don't know, Dolly Parton or something. And
and you're like, fat.
Man.
Sofia Vergara.
Oh, see, Sophia, fat bitch.
Wow. Yeah, she's so fat. I mean, even when her dress like busted open in the back, like nobody was like, she's so fat.
She's a great example of like absolutely not a skinny little twig, but
Right.
you know,
Right.
like
And I think people
super.
find her super attractive.
Well, you know, one thing that skinny girls don't do.
Eat gummy bears.
That you're absolutely right, 100%. I could have teed that up
That's-
in any situation. Kalyn is retrieving the gummy bag from our shelf of amazing lightage.
Yeah.
We're with the blue rubber chicken up there for no particular reason.
Besides the fact that I love them. Okay, here we go with the weigh-in.
Here's an unattractive gummy bear. He's definitely going to have to lead with his money.
That's right. 4 pounds, 1.7 ounces.
You know, one thing I really want to work on with my podcast skills is like the freaking memory.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like I'm getting worse with that with age. I'm just bad at like
it makes the guys who can do it, like, because I watch these finance podcasts and stuff like that, and they can remember all manner of stuff. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, let me remind myself what XYZ, you know.
I don't write that shit down, then I will never remember.
And even when I do, it's like now I'm searching for my notes.
Yeah.
But,
right. This is a problem for me also. Here you go.
All right, I'm up.
Yeah. I don't want to have my to-do list exclusively on my phone, but then I end up with like 25 pieces of paper spread out over everywhere that have like part of the to-do list, and I'll eventually like gather them together and make a master list. But then I'm like, this is too much shit. Like I'm overwhelmed. Like, forget.
I got a feeling we're gonna break under 4 pounds today.
Oh. Well, we're at 4 pounds exactly now.
I gotta say, this is a freaking awesome gummy bear. I would suggest this gummy bear to anybody who likes gummy bears.
Highly recommend, everybody.
And listen, the people from Tree Sugar Freaks or Gummy Bear Guy, listen, open invitation, okay? You want to come on this podcast?
We would love a sponsor.
Yeah.
Or just a guest.
Yeah, for real. Or anybody to even listen to us at all. No, I'm just kidding.
One of my favorite things about this is that it's trademarked as the world's largest gummy bear, and it's like 100% not the world's largest gummy bear.
Not at all.
There's like a 27-pound gummy, which I can't even imagine how big that thing. I mean, it's 5 times this.
Maybe we'll celebrate our 100th episode or something by buying the 25-pound gummy bear.
God.
It's gotta be like the size of this, like a coffee table.
Like, how on earth do you eat that? Like, even if it's a really good gummy bear like this one, like 25 pounds of gummy thing.
You're going to be passing that on to your children, honestly. We need like a gummy bear Roth IRA.
Yeah, or you need to go to some like 5th grade graduation or something and like, here's what I'm bringing for these kids to all eat and get sick off of.
It's hard for me to imagine a more disgusting thought than what that 25-pound gummy bear is going to look like after a 5th grade graduation party.
Yeah. Nothing like this. It'll look much worse. Like
after those grubby 5th graders put their fingers on it.
Right, come back and
take bites.
Yeah, gross.
Moms are not going to be like, oh, Junior, you got to cut off a piece, use the knife. You know, it's like, forget it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Not that we're like using a knife.
You were talking about the it being branded as the world's largest gummy bear. False advertising. Well, from now on, we're going to have to start calling it the 4-pound gummy bear.
Yeah. 3 pounds, 14 ounces.
3 pounds, 2 ounces. So we just ate. Did we just eat? No.
2 ounces or so?
Yeah, 2.5. Once again, the riveting gummy bear math that everybody loves. I keep getting feedback. I like that this has everybody's favorite segment.
Yeah, I'm sure. This icon kind of looks like the Pringles guy's like cousin or something.
Yeah. Well, Pringles guy, love child with the Monopoly guy.
That's true. Yeah. He's got the hat and like, they had a monocle. But does he have a monocle for real? This is like a Mandela effect thing. Like that we all remember a monocle on the
No, I don't think. I think you're
Monopoly,
exactly right.
right?
That's Mandela effect, just like you said.
Anyway.
I just found this funny. We got an email today from Spotify about how about your Wrapped is almost here. You know what Wrapped is?
Yeah.
Right? So the idea is we're going to end up on the Wrapped of listeners to this podcast. Well, of course, Spotify is by far our worst platform.
Yeah.
Like we rarely get even a single listen to our episodes. And sometimes the artist will leave a message for their top Spotify Wrapped listeners.
Right.
And I was thinking how funny it would be.
We should absolutely put together one and be like, thank you so much to our biggest fan, Spicy Nuts. Lucky Nuts.
Hey, listen, We know you're not out there, you're not listening, but we want to thank you.
Yeah, you are our first supporter. We'll never forget you.
I don't even know. Even freaking Spicy Nuts didn't go on Spotify. He was on some other platform.
I don't really listen to that many podcasts on Spotify, to be honest. Like,
who would?
Only if they take them off of Apple Podcasts will I make myself transition to Spotify. I don't like the way that Spotify does my podcast either. Like it has, I think, the same feature basically that you've talked about with Apple Podcasts. Like, here's your favorite mix that you listen to every single day. And then here's this podcast you listened to one time for 5 minutes a year and a half ago. Yeah.
And then there's the What We're Loving, which is just stuff that I would never listen to in a million years. You know, like Call Her Daddy. I'd be like, okay, great. Thanks, Apple. You know, good job on the profiling. You know?
Right.
So, Spotify's a mystery to me. Like sometimes you'll play your playlist, you know, my favorite rock songs playlist, and you're doing other things, and then you'll be like, I don't remember putting Rush on my playlist.
Yeah.
And
the Smart Shuffle.
I
fucking hate the Smart Shuffle. I think everyone hates it. They had for a while there that you could only Smart Shuffle if you wanted to shuffle at all.
Yeah.
Like, and now you can just hit shuffle twice.
And people are like, fuck you. I want to listen to this. The whole point of your stupid app is to listen to the songs I want to listen to and not other crap.
Right. If I make this is what I'm into right now. I don't need your suggestions of the most random shit. I'm like, what? Where did this come from?
This is the reason I'm not listening to the radio. And commercials. So if you ever introduce commercials, Spotify, we are done forever. But and this is the reason I don't listen to album, because I didn't want to listen to the third track of the album. I wanted to listen to the second track of the album.
Yeah. Right.
But I will say, on occasion, I've gotten a Smart Shuffle song where I've been like, oh, that's a good song. And it's made its way into my repertoire. The ability to turn it on and turn it off is good.
I feel like I have found new music through Spotify, because if I'm like, oh, I'm really into the Allman Brothers now. Yeah. Like I can go to their like Allman Brothers radio and it'll have basically a Smart Shuffle, like other bands that are like it or whatever. It's something else that you might be also about. And like, that's all I need. I don't need you to. I don't need you to force me to find, the Smart Shuffle. I'll go find it myself if I'm like, I really want something that's like this.
When you said Allman Brothers, you meant Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes.
Okay.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Because I'm like, we've got to appeal to a younger audience here, Kalyn. We've already talked about how we wear blouses and the 40-year-olds are taking over.
That's true.
You've seen that Pepsi commercial / Gladiator 2 that has Megan Thee Stallion?
I have not.
Basically it's a very jiggly now I don't know where your eyes are drawn to in this frame here, but
it's to her eyes.
Of course.
Who looks anywhere else?
Her crown or her bling.
I watch her mouth move. I'm trying to understand what she's saying.
Yeah, and I don't know. I look at that, even that shot, and I'm like, wow.
Goodness.
This is not something you could imagine on TV. I don't know.
Right.
20 years ago. Now, Sofia Vergara, like you said, was already jiggling all over our screens.
Well,
but
I
forgot to share that, so nobody's going to get to see Megan Thee Stallion's cleavage. But
I'll add a little screenshot of it.
We've learned how to do that.
Yeah.
1% better every single week. Hopefully this sounds better.
Yeah.
And we have blue lights, a rubber chicken.
Yeah. I mean, could you ask for more? So there's a J-Lo song called Booty. Oh. And I cannot believe that's on television. I know that's not your area, but she does quite a bit of jiggling in very, very little clothing. And Iggy's in it too. So there's two girls' butts rubbing up against each other. It's. I
mean, I'm not a butt man, but I like what I'm hearing. I could see getting into this.
I mean, I was like, my God. I mean,
it's just the way of the world these days, I guess. I remember when they banned Baby It's Cold Outside from the Christmas radio channels because he's kind of skeevy and kind of like trying to keep her in, and then that was the same year that Wet Ass Pussy was the top hit, and so there's a stand-up comedian who's like reading the Baby It's Cold Outside and she doesn't want to leave and and then he's like, now here's the song. And like the lyrics to that thing is like,
goodness,
I know. And like if Snoop Dogg's any guide, she'll be like the host of the Olympics in 8 years. I
just saw him on a Family Feud episode. Him and his family were on like a special episode.
How did Snoop Dogg become Bill Cosby? But
not creepy though. But He credits Tupac for him and his wife getting married.
Which that's not the easiest wife job in the world either. Like,
I think you accept that there's cheating going on and stuff.
I mean, he's pretty flagrant about it.
Yeah. When Dr. Dre and his wife got divorced and she was like, he's hit me before. I'm like, oh, really? Because he talks about smacking bitches in this song from like 95. Like, no kidding. You kind of knew what you were signing up for. Oh, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll bet Snoop Dogg also makes his wife purchase all the Christmas presents for his mother.
He's just like, Martha, hit me up with the Christmas gifts.
First of all, I'm hanging out with hoes and bitches.
Yeah,
now
like Martha Stewart.
Like Martha.
The famous show.
Smoking ganja. And
yeah.
now you go buy Christmas presents.
I've seen him once at a festival, and he has his uncles that come on stage or whatever, and they're like in hot pink suits, and they just like walk it, like dance around. They do nothing besides just like, and then they'll like throw pot out to the crowd. It's yeah.
Wow. Speaking of rough, so I wanted to show you this investor letter. So this is a guy I follow. He runs this hedge fund. His name is Harris Kupperman. He's the guy who got me into uranium. And also I've made a couple other investments following him. Remember when I was talking about like a concentrated portfolio? Mm-hmm. He has 5 themes, right? And each of those themes has 1 or 2 positions in it. So highly concentrated. So I'd like you to look at this chart, and I'd like you to take a wild ass guess when I started investing in the things that Harris Kupperman recommended. Like here he is, 161% return in 2020, 181 in 2021. Then quarter 1 comes around, and I'm finally like, all right, I'm investing in uranium.
I'm in. Sold.
You've convinced me, Harris Kupperman. Exactly.
Man.
So I have not invested in his fund, but I read this because it talks about here's the things I'm invested in, right?
You cherry pick from there.
Yeah, he doesn't reveal all his positions. And I know I'm a little late, so I'm not going to make 181% return, but if I make half that, of course I'm delighted, right?
Right.
But anyway, so I just read it these days to be like, all right, has Harris Kupperman given up on uranium?
Yeah.
Has he given up on Valaris, which is another position I'm in?
Yeah. You know? What is Valaris?
Well, they make the multi-billion-dollar boats that go out and drill deep sea oil wells.
Oh.
And supposedly at some point here, somebody's going to dig another deep sea oil well.
Yeah.
So when he got in, he was like, I'm paying for the share about 10% the value of the boats. Mm-hmm. So they could like melt the boats down and sell them and sell the scrap metal. And I would make money on this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in. Damn it. If that's not my worst performing position, 34% down or something, like uranium's crushing it, only down 6% or something. I dedicate an inordinate amount of my life to learning about uranium and what people are saying about uranium this week.
Yeah.
You just made a gesture that indicated to me you might want to talk about some topic or other on your page there.
Yeah. So we can do a little quiz on the alphabet stock.
So Kalyn looked up every single letter stock ticker. So we started with A, Agilent, and then last week, inexplicably, you went on and talked about B, Barnes Group.
Yeah, I got a wild hair, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, so C.
Well, I know it's not Costco.
No, it's not.
CompuServe is
got it.
Yes,
no.
It's a 1980s
CompuServe.
Retailer of what did CompuServe
I don't
do?
even know. I'm not 100% sure.
All right,
I never went there.
I'm gonna have to go look up CompuServe. Was it a retailer?
I don't know. I know the business, but I can't think of what it is now.
I'm always thinking there might be a little like AOL, but
CompuServe, like the AOL days.
All
certainly.
Right, yeah, it is definitely from that time period. Right?
Yeah,
whatever it is, they're out of business and they're not the letter C on the stock ticker.
Citigroup.
Oh,
yeah,
sure, I should have known that.
All right, D.
This
one's hard, or to me it was. But
this is hard. Deutsche Bank.
Dominion Energy.
Oh, sure, okay. All right.
E.
Not Edison, I don't suppose. Which would be another utility.
ENISPA. ENISPA.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can look it
up. Oh yeah, SPA is like saying corp in the US. So Eni is an oil industry company,
Ah.
evidently.
Stock ticker E.
Yeah.
All right. F.
Ford.
That's right. G.
Well, it's not GM.
Nope.
It's not General Mills.
Nope.
It's not General Electric.
Nope.
Does it have a general involved?
It has part of a general involved.
Genzyme.
Genpact Limited.
My favorite company.
Yeah, I like it.
I've been following them since birth.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It is wild that the letter ticker symbols are available.
Right.
That's better than the Yankees. Like, I don't think there's any single digits available on the Yankees because they retired all the numbers of all the greats.
Yeah.
Including 0,
well,
I
there's
think.
only 1 through 10 anyways. There's 26 letters in the alphabet.
Could you go over that again?
Yeah, so 10 is less than 26. Just saying.
But how many words are there?
In the universe?
Yeah. What if you just combine letters together and you're like, blah, blah,
well, I
blah,
mean,
blah.
any spa, that's like pretty close to that. Yeah. So
we should write them a letter.
Yeah.
Listen, you're
How
not
did
a
you
real
guys get E?
You're not a real company. You're just a combination of random letters.
Yeah. We'll go through K because
All
that's
right.
okay.
That's-
H.
Honda. No. Honeywell.
Hyatt.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a legit company.
All right.
Not like any spawn. These.
So I available.
Get out of here.
Up for grabs. Yep.
What?
Yep.
We should get that one.
Let's do it. There's another one available.
Really?
Mhm.
Z.
No.
X. No. X. I know X is one. Q.
No, X is not available. Q is not available.
Ah, interesting.
N.
The letter N is available.
That's right.
What are you doing, Nestle and
Yeah.
Netscape and
Yeah, Netscape. Everybody's big on Netscape. You guys need better tickers. That's the problem with your company.
between
Like,
listen to me and picking companies out of the
90s. Yeah, no kidding. Like,
between that and our Almond
come
Brother
on.
references.
Yeah, Dippin' Dots. Why haven't you? Like, you guys haven't locked down I yet? Like, that's ice cream, kind of. Ice cream of the future. Isn't that your thing? I don't know.
Dippin' Dots. Listen, Dippin' Dots, this is our recommendation to you. This is how we take this
Yeah.
company to the next level.
That's right.
You take
I
the
don't even
letter
know how
I.
you're still around, to be honest. Like, it was a fun novelty when I was 11, but it's just crappy ice
Yeah,
cream.
you can get it in you can get it in ballparks and everything. You think in the Dippin' Dots meetings, like the annual management team meeting or something, they like talk about the core values at Dippin' Dots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every company does this. I
Yeah.
like find it to be so obnoxious.
Listen, here
They're
at
like,
Dippin' Dots,
We're about loyalty and
honesty.
Yeah. integrity
Here at Dippin' Dots, we value having the tough conversations
and diversity.
Yes.
Like,
tolerance of others.
yeah.
Well, here's my diverse opinion on you, Dippin' Dots. Your ice cream sucks.
Yeah. Agreed. So you should know the next two because we have talked about both of them.
Get
So
out.
J,
Jacobs, yeah.
K.
Kellanova.
Yes, you
Give me
got it.
one more.
All right, L.
Why did I say give me one more?
You want Z
I
instead?
knew what came after K.
Yeah.
What can I think of that starts with L?
Not Home Depot.
Oh, Lowe's.
You got it.
Are you sure it's Home Improvement, not the movie cinema chain?
I'm not positive. Yeah.
Listen, Lowe's, I'm sorry I talked about Home Depot so much earlier and
Yeah.
not your company.
In Houston, at least, they're almost always like next door to each other.
Yeah, that is so weird.
I don't really understand this whole approach.
Like fast food, right? People are going to eat a lot of fast food.
Right.
So they're going to drive up and down that street many times. And if they pick Taco Bell today, that in your McDonald's, that's okay because you know you're going to get your share.
Mhm.
But Home Depot, Lowe's, like,
Yeah.
I know the contractors and stuff are going to go there every day and maybe they pick up the paper. They pick up a copy of the plain dealer and see that Lowe's has the 2x4s for $2.89 and Home Depot has them for $2.99. You know?
Yeah. I don't even know if Lowe's and Home Depot have a circular or whatever. Have some
I don't even know if
Dad.
there are circulars anymore. Honestly,
They come to your house. I throw them away.
You know what goes in the trash the fastest is when you get the pack of coupons.
Yeah. You got one today. I threw it away. I did open it up and go through, and there was nothing of any value.
No. Well, because I don't need storm windows and I don't need a
lawyer. One of my friends is married to a lawyer, and
Yeah.
she likes to tell me how he's a doctor. because it's a Juris Doctorate that they get. And I'm like, first of all, like, you don't even have a PhD, which like I feel like is already like nobody when they're like, oh, I'm dating a doctor. Nobody's talking about like it's the Ross and Rachel thing, the paleontologist. They're like, oh yeah, you're a doctor. Like that's legit. But
90s reference number 17 for this podcast.
Right? No kidding.
Friends.
Like,
we're talking about Friends. A show that hasn't been on air in 20 years.
Yeah. But yeah, my legit doctor friend was dating a PhD in music composition. And I don't know, had a complex. So he would give her a hard time saying that he was a real doctor because he had a PhD and that's older than an MD, like in terms of when they started giving out this degree, whatever. And I was like, you're talking to an anesthesiologist right now about how she's not a doctor. If you're in a public space and someone like, is there a doctor in the house? If you run over there and like, I could write you a little concerto real quick.
Do you understand
I know you're choking, but like.
Do you know in the Middle Ages in France, they named
yeah, right?
I know you're choking, but let me tell you about the history of hoods and mortarboards to graduation ceremonies.
Right, exactly. And a lawyer, it's even more ridiculous for them to be like, well, he technically is doctor. I'm like, technically, you also go by Esquire? Like, are you one of those douchebags? Anyways, like.
Esquire, I thought, well, here's 90s reference number 18. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Esquire. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't have it out for all lawyers. Like, I think a lot of lawyers are great and you need them.
We need lawyers.
I even think the ambulance chasers play a necessary role, albeit I think it's a really terrible and slimy way they do it. Like, if you're a trucking company that doesn't keep your trucks in order and you hire drivers that are terrible and they hurt and kill people, that trucking company should get killed. Killed. We should kill every one of you motherfuckers.
You fuckers are dead.
At this trucking company. No, they should get sued, right? It's a totally legit lawsuit.
Right.
Well, the very same lawyer then who, like the trucking, if you reach this reasonable, like you break a bone or something, or you get whiplash, like, they should pay the medical bills. Let's reach a reasonable number, 25 or 50 grand. Okay. If you're the lawyer then pushing for 500 grand, you've crossed over to being scammy.
Oh, I see what you did. Oh. Yeah. So this scam of the week is kind of throwback. So you remember when we went to the Vatican? Well, you went more recently than with me, but we also went to the Vatican. There's a big...
You and I went to the Vatican together?
Yes.
We did.
You and me. Yeah.
The Vatican.
Yes.
The big place in Rome.
That's true. When we went backpacking through Europe.
Oh.
We flew out of Rome.
Boy.
We definitely went to the Vatican.
All my memories of that trip. You're so
Spain.
Right. Yeah, being hot and miserable. And to this day, I'm like, people are like, I want to go to Spain.
I'm like, nah.
Did you know that Houston is on the same latitude line as Baghdad?
I did not know that.
Spain is on like the same latitude line as like
New York or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I knew that it's a lot higher over there. I mean, I guess the Mediterranean makes it.
I don't know what makes it so damn warm there. Yeah, right. I do remember going to the speaking of gladiators, I do remember going to the Colosseum with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I highly recommend Rome, but I recommend going to the Italian countryside even more than Rome. But you got to do both.
There's a lot to see in Rome. Yeah. And part of it is the Vatican. They have a sculpture there that's called, I don't know how you say this, Laocoon. So this is the background for the scam. It's based on this myth about this guy who throws stuff at the Trojan horse, right? And like they catch him. And so then his punishment is that he has to watch his sons be killed and then he's eaten by snakes for eternity.
This is some punishment for throwing things at the Trojan horse.
Yeah, I know.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Because wait, which phase is this? Was this when we didn't know the Trojan horse was full of Athenians or like we didn't know the Trojan horse was bad and he got in trouble for throwing things at the Trojan horse?
I don't, or after? I'm not sure. I don't even know who this pissed off so bad. Like, was it like, how were the gods involved with the Trojan horse to begin with? Like,
I wouldn't think they were really at all.
Yeah. And this, I mean, you're being eaten by snakes for eternity.
God.
Anyway. So yeah, I mean, pretty rough.
All right.
Like,
but that's not the scam.
So this is a sculpture of that scene, right? So it's a guy covered in snakes. And anyway, so this sculpture was found in like the 16th century, right? When Michelangelo was like hitting the scene. And at that time, Romans were super about like shit from the Roman Empire, like thousands of years old sculptures and stuff. And so the really good artists, Michelangelo and Donatello are known to do this, would make fake ones.
Yeah.
And so this one shows up. Michelangelo's like the first dude on the scene, and it happens to have an arm that's broken off. And so they have a contest to see who can make like the best replacement. Michelangelo enters, loses, and but then he like makes one anyways. And 400 years later, they find the original. So there is a theory that this whole sculpture, that it's not actually ancient at all. This is just a big fake that Michelangelo has made. And like,
Whoa.
yeah.
We got a multi-century scam on our hands here.
Yeah. And so the way we think that this is his original work, the whole thing, this art historian that like found sketches that he did several years before. We have a good timeline of that stuff that looks super similar to that finished sculpture. And he fought tooth and nail with the winner of that prize for how the arm should be. The arm's super contorted because he's being eaten by snakes and tortured, and so he's very full of pain there. Anyways, they say that he just threw out the one that he made, and then 400 years later, it was found and put on the sculpture itself. So that's the scam of the week. I mean, it was so scammy, but like, yeah, this was a big business for like Michelangelo, Donatello, other Renaissance period artists would make fake antiquities pieces because they were just really good at all of it, apparently.
Those guys were good artists. Michelangelo, he's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah. Michelangelo, I'm always like, I don't get how the math adds up, because it always seems like, he worked on this thing for 3 years and he worked on that thing for 5 years. And you're like, how many years did he have? Like,
well, once he got to be doing like the Sistine Chapel and shit like that, then you're working with a slew of artist assistants, right? And so he has a bunch of people that he's trained or what have you. I mean, like Andy Warhol famously, like, basically never touched a piece of canvas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it was his
I'm
brainchild.
The dreamer, you're the doer.
Right. So who's the artist here?
What is art?
Like, right.
All?
Yeah. Is it just the idea? Yeah. I mean, it's like just me conceptualizing this thing. Does that make it
Here's
art?
what I conceptualized.
Right.
Cans of soup in different colors. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So
I want to talk about getting eaten by snakes.
Yeah.
So first of all, I didn't know you could be eaten like snakes. Obviously they have fangs, but how many times would a fang have to do this to eat you?
Well, I mean, those boa constrictors and stuff can get super big and like eat whole deer and shit like that.
Is that the kind of snake in this statue?
So they've got a number of snakes that are like all
the snakes of different sizes and shapes are going to share
like, it's like land in a snake pit.
Yeah.
It's like in Raiders of the Lost Ark,
right?
Or Temple of Doom.
1980s reference.
So I mean, definitely depends on the snake.
Well, it takes a really big damn snake like
to eat something whole. I don't know.
I know. Maybe Michelangelo figured out how they did.
In the sculpture, I can't remember if his sons are there. I think they are, but they're dead. And he's like being tormented.
Are they dead in Hades too? I don't understand. I need some more background.
Yeah, no kidding. I like the feedback is generally these scams are too long, and now I'm like, man, I needed to look. Yeah, sorry.
I'm less interested in the scam and more interested in the.
I was like, is this Greek mythology or Roman mythology? Is it all the same? Like,
yeah, it's like the same shit, different names, you know?
Right?
So
yeah,
they basically admired the Greeks, and
then they're like, but they tried to trick us with that Trojan horse. And some guy was like, threw a rock, and they were like, it is fucking over for you, dude. Like, your son's dead, and now you're getting eaten by snakes forever. And you get to think about your son's dying.
I mean, he's the only guy who thought, well, he's the only one who acted on that instinct to throw the rock at.
Right. Tortured forever is also a pretty heavy, like.
I telling you.
I mean, like Prometheus, right? His punishment was that he was chained to a rock and had his liver eaten by vultures every day.
Yeah, and it grows
back.
That,
right. But he stole shit directly from Zeus.
Yeah.
This guy just threw a rock at a horse.
Jesus.
Like
not even a wooden horse.
Yeah, right.
What did Sisyphus do?
Sisyphus, his punishment was that he had to roll a rock up the hill.
Yeah.
Only to reach the top and have it roll all the way back down. And he had to get it over the hill, but he could never do it.
Why doesn't he quit?
Because he's not allowed to, or something.
Why don't we quit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we call it a day?
Yeah.
All right.
Cue the music. You have been listening to the Robert and Kalyn Get Rich podcast, your one and only stop for poorly told Greek mythology stories and in-depth discussions about the wretched souls in Hades. and stock picks.
Yeah. Yay.
But listen, we might talk about stocks and what ticker symbols start with what letters. But remember one thing.
This is not investment or financial advice.
That's true. Do you think we talked about anything at all that could be construed as financial advice in this episode?
I said to hold on to things for a long time.
Right.
Hold on to your stock.
Good point. If you listen to Harris Kupperman on a podcast, do so with caution. I'm here to tell you. Past results are no guarantee of future results.
That's true. Send us an email at Robert and Kalyn, Kalyn, get rich.
At gmail.com.
Yep.
And if you're too lazy to do any of that, then hit the like button or the subscribe symbol.
Yeah.
Or
leave us a comment.
That's it.
Tell us what you think.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.